Good morning, my name is Jason Stepp with Stepp Manufacturing, and today we're going to go over the features of the new 2020 SPHD dump style patch trailer. Just to give you a little background on Stepp, Stepp's been producing asphalt equipment for over 78 years, owned and operated by the same family that whole entire time. We build just about anything that will heat, store, or applicate asphalt materials. Today what we're going to talk about is the SPHD 3.0. We do build this same exact unit in a 2.0. The 3.0 will hold 4 ton, the 2.0 will hold 3 ton. Only difference is the 2.0 is about 6 inches shorter, so the hopper is just a little lower. You get a little smaller axle on the 2.0 than you do on the 3.0. This axle system on the 3.0, the 4 ton unit's a tandem axle, 7,000 pound axle, so you have a 14,000 GVW. We use a radial tire and a good steel wheel. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the features and options on our unit, including the new design. This particular unit, all of our dump style trailers, I should say, and our auger style trailers are all oil jacketed, and our patch trucks are also oil jacketed. The reason we do the oil jacketed hopper is that gives you very smooth, even heat. So it works very well with hot mix, and it works very well with cold, even better with cold mix actually, because we're using a heat transfer media, the oil, to heat our product. So you have your inner tank that holds the product, you know, the asphalt, and then you have a secondary tank that's filled with heat transfer oil. So it's built very similar to a boiler. So that oil jacket is what we're heating with the burner. So the burner fires underneath, heats up that oil then heats your product. So that gives you very, very smooth, even heat. You have very consistent heat from the front to the back. You prevent scorching, you prevent burnouts, so your hoppers don't burn out in an oil jacketed like they do in an air jacket. We at Stepp still build a few air jacket units in our gravity discharge and some of our slip-ins, but the oil jacket's definitely the premium heating system. But it does cost a little bit more, but you get, like I said, the premium heat system when you go to oil jacket. This particular one has a diesel burner that fires underneath of it. Like the auger style units, they actually use a flue, but on this one we actually fire into the bottom and it fires onto that oil jacket. And then you have your outer skin and your insulation jacket. So we actually use a ceramic insulation around that, so that's a refractory style insulation, unlike a fiberglass or a rock wool. But we're heating that whole entire bottom of the tank and up the sides with that diesel burner with the exhaust gas. We then dump, and I'll show you here in a little bit when we reposition the camera, we then take our exhaust heat and we actually put it inside of the hopper. So it actually fires down the bottom, comes up the sides, and exhausts inside of the hopper. The reason we do that is we've already paid for that heat and that exhaust. So by putting that exhaust back in the top of the hopper, that prevents the top of the material from getting crusty or bridging, and we're reusing that heat. And then we exhaust out through the top 2 covers. Top covers are stainless steel, something no one else in the industry does. Asphalt tends to have a lot of moisture in it. You know, if you drive by a paving project, you see the white smoke coming off the new paving mat. Well, that's all moisture. So moisture causes rust, especially when you add heat, and also acidic, you know, diesel fumes or LP fumes. So by putting stainless steel top doors on that, we prevented doors from rusting and rotting out, something that you won't see on anyone else's unit. So the oil jacket's very unique to Stepp. We were the first ones. It's standard on our equipment. It's not an option, it's a standard feature. The stainless steel doors are standard. We have a very unique door opening system on here. You pull the handle out, swing it up, and pull the door open, and you'll notice that the door locks in the up and in the down position. So that's all built into that very unique handle system. We also put a gas shock on the door, which makes it extremely easy to open. It's a one-handed operation. You can see closing it and opening it, that shock takes all of the work out of that. You know, so it's very, very easy system to open and operate. And it's been a good system. We've had it around for quite some time. Now you swing the handle, now the door is locked in the down position, so the doors can't blow open while you're driving. When we're in the out position, the door latch locks it so that if you're at the plant and they spill, or you're loading it with a front end loader and you spill material on it, that door cannot close because it's hooked with the latch. So pretty unique, you know, ingenuitive system. That's the one thing you're going to kind of see on the Stepp units is there's a lot of innovation a lot of technology in our products. You know, we're always kind of the first ones to market with the new, latest, greatest technology. I'm going to close that up again, swing that handle out, and latch the door down. This particular unit's also got a new design shovel cleaning compartment. Very similar to the old one. What we did is we just added slots and put rubber on them, you know, to prevent sloshing. This is a must-have option. We sell it on almost every one of our patching machines. You put a little bit of environmentally friendly release agent in there, and your shovels ride right in there, and they're always clean. We also put a baffle in the bottom, and this is the only time this is going to be this clean, because once you start to use it, it gets dirty. But what that baffle does is, as you're using this, you know, a week, 2 weeks, month, 2 months down the road, and you know, every time you dip that tank, there's some asphalt that's washing off your shovel into that compartment. By putting this in there, and it sits down there and at an angle, it keeps your shovels out of the bottom gooey crap in the bottom. You know, it's not a big deal, but it's something that no one else offers. You know, it's just one of those things, again, a little innovative that Stepp does that no one else does. This particular unit, you'll see the gray conduit here, excuse me, also has electric overnight heat. Excuse me. This particular one has 110 overnight heaters. We also sell this, which is more common, is a 220 overnight heater. The 220 overnight heater will actually keep hot mix hot overnight by plugging it in. The 110 is designed for cold mix. So if you're using a lot of cold mix, the 110 will get you about to 150, you know, maintain your 150, 175 max temperature. The 220 volt will actually maintain 350 degree asphalt overnight. So those heaters are actually submerged in that oil jacket, so we're using those electric heaters to heat that oil up or keep it hot overnight. Again, on an air jacket unit, you just can't do that because you have nothing to sink the heat into. If you just have an air jacket and you have those heaters in there, the heat just goes out the exhaust and you can't put enough electric heat into it. With the oil jacket, you can. So that's the key to an oil jacketed unit, is you have those electric heaters. Very simple to, you know, they're very reliable. If you ever do have to service them, they're very simple. They're right here in those inspection ports. I'm going to go over the controls now. We have a nice control box system. So this particular unit is laid out with 2 thermostats, which operate the hopper and the oil temperature. So you'll see we have hot oil and we have product. So you set your product temperature. Say we're using hot mix, we're going to set our product temperature to 3 or 350 degrees. You'd want to set your oil about 50 degrees hotter, 50 to 75 degrees hotter, so that you have a heat differential there. Those 2 thermostats are going to operate that burner, you know, so that we don't overheat the oil, but we also don't overheat our mix. So they're actually wired in a series together, and they work together independently to run that burner. Very simple to run the burner. You turn the burner switch on. You set your thermostats. The bottom temperature is what you're set at. Your top temperature is what you're reading. So right now it's a nice day in Minnesota here. We're 79 degrees on our oil. It says 80 degrees on our product. We're going to set our hot oil. You know, we're going to set this to, like I said, 50 degrees hotter. So I'm going to set it to 400 degrees by just running that up and down arrow. It's very simple. So I set that at 400, and you can set your product at about 350. So that's going to fire and maintain temperature as long as until it reaches the temperature. You'll notice we have a call for heat light on, so that's when the thermostats are telling the burner to burn. If for some reason the burner doesn't light, or it runs out of fuel or has a malfunction, the burner lockout light will come on and light up and tell you that your burner is not firing. This unit's very quiet. You can hardly hear it run. You can only see the heat coming out of the top if you look very carefully, because it's very efficient, extremely efficient. We do fire into a stainless steel burner box with a stainless steel liner, and we also put a stainless steel diffuser on the bottom of the tank. The stainless steel diffuser is a replaceable part that, you know, once a year we suggest that you inspect it, but you'll get many, many years of service out of it, even if you're using your burner a lot. We also have a digital voltmeter in here. I'm going to shut the burner off because we don't need to fire it for anything. If you get the optional wash down system, you turn that on. We actually shut the burners off in case you are running some type of a flammable solvent in that. But that would turn your pump on for your wash down spray system to spray your hopper, spray your tools, whatever. These are wired with work light switches in them and strobe light switches in them, whether you get them or not. They're already wired, pre-wired, so if you ever want to add them, they're easy to add. If you get an optional tack tank, which this unit does not have a tack tank on, it's got a platform instead. The tack tank thermostat would be put here. If you have an aero board, again, the aero board, it's already built, ready for that. It does have the electric overnight heat. Obviously that won't turn on until it's plugged in. So you plug in the 110 on the side of this one, turn the power switch on, and set that thermostat the same way you do the product or the hot oil. And that's just going to maintain your temperature. So you can see it's a very nice, clean looking, very well put together. All of our connections are soldered. Where we have connectors where we might have a replaceable, like a temperature probe or something like that, it's a weather pack or a Deutz type plug. That's a sealed plug. The pins are still soldered in those. We have terminal strips, wiring diagrams, wiring strips right in the inside of the box. So when that box opens up, you know, if you have a strobe light problem, you can see which wire is the strobe light because it's marked right in there on that terminal strip. Something a lot of companies don't do. You know, we build our equipment to last for many, many years. You know, most of the life cycles on these machines are 10, 15, even 20 years. We have some of these units that are more than 20 years in the field and still being used, which is a lot to say because a lot of companies build very inexpensive equipment and it's cheap to buy, but they're not putting the quality in and doing some of those things like soldering the connections, like putting good cabling on there, you know, running the wire harnesses. You know, we try to run the wire harnesses whenever we can inside the frame or in a protected, you know, loom or a protected conduit. You know, so those are some of the extra things that we're doing that a lot of companies don't do, you know, and really make the unit a little cheaper. Your controls for your hopper are located back here. It's on a pendant. The pendant's got a magnet on it, so you can kind of put it wherever you want. Pretty simple, just a up and down switch. The other thing I'll show you is we have two different pans. We got your regular shovel pan, and then you got your lower pan. If we're doing small potholes, they'll tip out the lower pan, flip this one up, and dispense onto that. If they're doing a large patch, they're going to fold this pan up, fold this one down, and dump directly onto the ground. Now, one of the things the Stepp does that a lot of patch trailers don't do is this really tips. We go to 52 degrees. We actually use a rugby truck hoist in our unit. Scissor style truck hoist. It's the same one you're going to see in a lot of dump trucks. And the reason we do that is that gives us extreme stability. You'll notice that we're not hooked up to a truck. I don't have any type of outrigger. It's because we've designed this thing with our center of gravity, you know, over our axles, even when it's all the way in the up position. So we can actually tip this unhooked without a truck being hooked to it, even when the unit's fully, you know, fully loaded, because we've done the weight and balance. You'll see a lot of other companies will have a drop style leg, you know, an outrigger style leg. We just don't need that. And I also dump to 52 degrees, so it makes that very easy to get the product out of the unit. It's a double acting hoist, so it dumps in the up and in the down, or it hoists in the up and in the down position. So there she is all the way up. Again, extremely stable. The hopper is extremely, extremely stable. And you'll see that nice hoist system. Again, we have power up and power down. All right, so here now you can see the hoist system. You can see the rugby style hoist. We have a bolt-in sub-assembly hoist mount that we bolt into this. You'll notice there's places like you'll see over there, there's some wire plugs hanging out. That's for the optional washdown tank if you ever want that. So it's already pre-wired for that stuff. You'll notice that we try to go in and out of the frame as much as we can with wiring. You know, this particular unit has electric brakes, so the wire harness comes from the front through and out to the brakes. But the other thing I want you to notice is the shackle system. If you look at the shackle, we build our own shackles. It's a one-piece bolt-on. It's about 400% heavier than what comes with the axles. We don't wear shackles out ever. These are heavy trailers. I'll zoom in on it so you can see that shackle. You know, it's just a heavy duty, beefy shackle. It's a bolt-on fender. So if for some reason you ever you know, hit the fender with the loader and you need to put a new fender on. It's a bolt-on fender. Same thing with the shackles. If you ever, you know, we had a customer who got sideswiped, you know, they had to put a new axle on, and now it's just bolt on the shackle and put the new axle on. So very simple, easy to replace, good replacement parts on this. All right, here you can see that's the burner is located up underneath. It fires into that box. That box is actually a stainless box that I was talking about. Then it has a stainless steel liner and then also a stainless pan welded on the bottom of the oil jacket, so we prevent, you know, burnouts or things like that. That whole system is lined in ceramic insulation, you know, to prevent heat loss and to prevent, you know, reflective heating. All right, I'm going to show you how to operate the compactor plate carrier. Pretty unique design. No one else has one like this, obviously. We actually put the compactor on here and store it on here while we're going on the road. Pull the pin here, pull that pin, the big pin out. This is going to swing. And you can drop your pin in, or if you're going to load this right now, most guys don't. They just set the pin down, but I'm just going to put it down just so I can show you. So you've got a side lock here. A manual lock on that. You've got your switch for your, so you can see this folds down and out, and now we're going to drop this. You drop that all the way to the ground, you slide your compactor on it, lift it up. When you're done, you're going to strap it down. You can see we've got spots to strap that down, double heavy linkages on there. You're going to run that back up until this latch locks in, and then you're going to swing, oops, put my pin back in, I forgot. With your compactor on here, then you swing this whole thing over, drop your pin back in, and down the road you go. So your compactor's right there. If you make the compactor easy to use, the guys will use it more where they should. So that just swings around. Your switch is mounted right here. It's just an electric 12-volt winch. We actually put a strap on here instead of the cable. The strap takes some bouncing from the road where the cables would start to fray. So that's just, again, something that over the years, you know, innovation that we've come up with. You know, but now your compactor's right here riding with the machine when you need it. This particular unit you can also get with optional tack tank. You can only get the platform or the tack tank. This particular unit has the platform. If you get the tack tank, it actually goes in the place of this. We can do a tack tank, just gravity flow, or we have a full pumping system. You can do Honda gasoline engines or Kubota diesel engines. Lots of options on the tack system. It's got a hose reel with a 20-foot hose and a washout system. Very nice tack system. It's not a cheap, you know, just a pot with a burner in it. It's a true tack. It's the same pump we use on our oil distributors and our small tack trailers. So it's a hydraulically driven 20-gallon per minute pump with a engine that can support the batteries. So if you do get an engine on here, it'll maintain your batteries. On the Honda, it's actually a 13 horsepower electric start with an 18 amp charging circuit. So we actually order them with a bigger charging circuit. On the Kubota, it's a 2-cylinder 16.5 horse Kubota diesel, liquid cooled Kubota diesel engine with a 65 amp alternator. So if you get the diesel engine, you don't need to worry about getting power from the tow vehicle because you're supporting it from the diesel engine. So those are all options that are available on these. There's aero boards with swinging mounts. There's lots of different very useful options. Camera systems, you know, wireless camera systems, so you can see the operators behind. Now the one nice thing about the Stepp unit, because it is so low in profile, the driver can see the operator when that hopper box is down. So I want to give you kind of a perspective of how, you know, how well this unit tilts. This has got 2 doors in it. You can open the doors here. You can open it before you get down. Obviously this is in the all the way up position. I'm going to let it down so you guys can see the inside and the back of the doors. So the reason for the double acting hoist is no matter how cold it is, it's going up and going down. You don't have to worry about gravity to do the job. It's always going to go down. It's power up, power down. That's standard on all the Stepp units. A lot of my competitors offer that as an option. You'll notice we don't option much. We just give it to you because it's what you should have. You know, it's what really is the benefit of the unit. So here you can see double doors. They also have gas shocks on them. You got a full inside hopper. We do have to have something to support the doors in the middle, so you do have a little, a half a shovel load maybe of material you got to clean out. But in side-by-side comparisons with some of our competitors, everything empties on this unit because it tips so high. You have less than a shovel or two that you ever have to clean out or scrape out in them. If you clean them out and scrape them out every day, you prevent buildup. But there's just not a lot because it does tip very well. This particular unit doesn't have strobe lights, but it's already pre-wired and they're there. So if you want to add them, it's very simple to do that. The work lights are also wired into that already. Here you can see the double doors. The doors are insulated, and you can't really see it, but in the back side of the hopper we actually have holes, and there's holes in the back side of the door that allow exhaust gas to come into the door and keep the door warm. So it's insulated and we're heating the door. No one else is doing that, a heated door. That's very unique to Stepp. The other thing, I don't know if you can see it, but we actually angle our tape of the door. So if you tilt it up and you dump some material and you got some material still left on the pan and you come down, it's gonna knife off that and cut off that product, so that you can get that out of there and keep that material in the hopper. But again, heated top doors or back doors, something that no one else has done. This is the dual pan. Everyone's got a different preference. So at Stepp, we decided we'll let you guys decide what preference you want. So some guys like to shovel out of here, some guys like to shovel out of the lower platform. So it's 100% user preference. So you could spill material onto the bottom pan, get 2 or 3 guys working out of here if you want, or if you want to come right out of the hot hopper, you can open the door and shovel it here. A lot of guys will tip that up just a little bit. They'll run that at a little bit of an angle so that gravity helps them with getting that material out. They'll run that at a little bit of an angle here, and then they'll just work out of the back end of the machine. So we give you options. If you don't like shoveling out of the top pan and you only shovel out of the bottom pan, you're going to take 2 bolts off and take this little flip out pan off. If you're doing a little of both, you're doing some cutouts, you're going to flip that pan up. Now that gives you the ability to dump directly off of out of the unit right onto the roadway surface. And you really have very little, again, if you need 4 ton, you can get all 4 ton right now. So very unique system there that no one else, again, offers in the industry. Some of the things that you'll see with Stepp is we try to use premium components, premium parts. We don't usually skimp on anything. We tend to overbuild, which does make us a little bit higher priced, but the value that we believe that we're providing you guys is going to last you many, many, many years, in service. So that's kind of the main big deal with the new 2020 hoppers, the new double doors, the under-fired burner. So the burner is actually located up underneath, so it's protected from asphalt or anything, so you can't spill on it. We do have burner enclosures and all those good options to go along with that. We'd like to just thank you for your interest in our products. And if you have any questions, please call your local dealer or feel free to give us a call anytime. We'd love to talk to you about them. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.